I bet you in 10 seconds, I can convince you why you need to be journaling. Okay, without cheating, do this.
What's 25 times 136 times 1578 times 18,461? Pretty hard, isn't it? You notice how you're getting jumbled up, losing track of what number was where? It'd be easy if you wrote it out, wouldn't it? And that's just multiplication. Now imagine how complex your thoughts are and how jumbled around it gets in there. This is a video about what I've learned from 10 years of journaling. The year was 2012 and I found a Moleskine journal in my brother's drawer. I promise I wasn't snooping, you're snooping. I loved the smoothness of the paper and the way the ink decorated each page. I was instantly hooked and I got my very own one the next day. But what I had no idea was the impact it would have on my life, which would lead to one of the most life-changing lessons that I learned from years of journaling, which I'll share with you at the very end of this video. I'll also share what practical and actionable steps you can use to get started. Initially, journaling was just a great way to capture memories that I wanted to remember forever. Happy moments like talking to my middle brother every night after he'd come home from a grueling day of operating, and having lunch with my dad and hearing stories about my grandfather who I never got to meet. And also the sad memories, how a young 16-year-old me dealt with a rough breakup. All these memories captured helped me relate to and understand myself better, because I could see where and who I'd been and who I was now becoming. I could see tangible evidence of that and truly know that the things that I worried about when I was 18 years old are quite different to the things I now worry about. It helped me identify negative patterns that I would engage in and notice their triggers, or just give me more information to dissect on how to stop them. But also it gave me crucial data about what I was doing when I was feeling great, when life was on track, which I know could be very useful for a lot of people. But more than telling my life story, I quickly realized that journaling helped my extreme overthinking nature. It gave me an outlet to iron out all those crazy thoughts in my head. So word vomiting these jumbled thoughts onto paper was my way of gaining more mental clarity. And for the times that I wasn't overthinking, there were moments I would feel overwhelmed but not comfortable enough to confide in others. When I was that 15-year-old kid going through that rough breakup, I felt like I couldn't show anyone else how truly sad I was. Because at the time, I was known as the fun, happy joker at school. And as a young man, I wasn't okay to show my vulnerability, but also afraid that people wouldn't accept that part of me. The journal acted like a friend that I could vent to without judgment, without problem solving. I felt like there was finally a place in this world where I could be 100% genuine and true. It gave me clarity in moments where my mind was cloudy, either heavy with emotions or just uncertainty about the future. It helped me slow down and focus mainly on the facts. In addition to giving me emotional support, journaling also has allowed me to gain perspective over my life. Andrew Huberman, a famous neuroscientist, talks about a concept which describes how humans perceive time. He calls these space-time bubbles.
Space-time bubble.
And when we're journaling on a day-to-day basis, our space-time bubble is very narrow and focuses in on a handful of days at a time. Because it's hard to remember how we feel or think accurately further back than this. But when we have access to journal entries from a whole year, we get very rare access to a space-time bubble which spans over years. And the lessons held in these space-time bubbles are very different because we get to gain perspective. We see overarching themes and repetitive patterns. If this is confusing to you, use this thought experiment for a moment. If you're driving your car and you see a truck coming towards you, your space-time bubble narrows and you aren't thinking about what I'll be doing in X amount of years from now. All you're concerned about is your current space-time bubble. Your concern is, am I going to get hit? What about my loved ones? Everything is focused on now. But then contrast that to when you lay down and watch the clouds gently flow past, realizing that you're on a blue planet in the middle of an endless vacuum. Now your space-time bubble dilates and your day-to-day concerns become less anxiety-provoking because you're able to take a step back from them and see the larger picture. And that's exactly what reading through my last 10 years of journal entries has allowed me. Before I tell you the most valuable lesson I learned from journaling, I want to give you some practical and actionable steps that you can use right now after watching this video. Number one is, you should be able to start journaling at your desk within 20 seconds. Number two is, have a daily reminder in your environment for it. I use a habit tracker sheet that I made myself, or you can just keep your journal on your desk somewhere that you'll see it every day. Number three is, have a pen available, either attached to the journal or on your desk. And number four, do it the same time of day if you can. Number five, use electronic and physical. Just as long as the practice gets done, that's all that matters. And lastly, number number 6, perfect is the enemy of progress. Just start with one line each day and go from there. Now, if you're struggling with what to write, just ask yourself some of these simple questions, like what happened today? How am I feeling right now? Can I name the emotion? And do I want to change this emotion or keep this emotion? Also things like, did something big happen today? What are the facts? And what would a person outside of yourself think of this story? Would they describe it the same way as you? Okay, after 10 years of journaling, we finally come to the most life-changing lesson I learned from journaling. Fortune telling. Hear me out. Writing down your goals has power to it. A pattern that I repeatedly saw occurring was that I spent so much time agonizing over not achieving a goal that I had set out for myself, or when I was going through something that was utterly world destroying at the time. Almost every time it would alleviate or be resolved immediately. It might just have taken me longer than I initially expected, but I did nonetheless achieve the goal or pass through and survive the really difficult times in life. It gave me more confidence in myself and trust in my future reading through these last 10 years of journals, which is honestly a really nice feeling because I'm not the sort of person who can just convince themselves that everything will be fine. I need tangible evidence of this. And by seeing this pattern just repeatedly happen so many times in my life, it puts my mind more at ease and lets me focus on the current tasks more. For example, these days I often catch myself worrying if I'll ever get 100,000 subscribers. But after reflecting on this, it's helped me stop worrying about that and just focus my mind on doing the tasks that will eventually get me to my goal. Matthew McConaughey has a great quote on journaling where he says, "When we write down our goals, we become objectively aware of what we're trying to achieve and where we are. It's a personal contract with ourselves that helps to create more accountability and clarity around your goals." Thanks so much for watching, guys, and see you in the next one. Bye.